how is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. Today we are just kind of recapping every news and notes from the start of NBA Media Day leading up to the 2026 NBA season. We had a couple teams media days last week with like the Knicks, the Pelicans, the Celtics, the Nets, and a few others as we were just kind of looking at the teams that were playing in Abu Dhabi. Like on Thursday, we have the Knicks and the Sixers playing a preseason game. You're going to see some very notable players on the court on Thursday, even like top prospect for the 2026 Dash Daniels for Melbourne United. They're going to be going up, I believe, against the Pelicans on Thursday, and then we're going to have the Knicks and the Sixers as well, which, yeah, we're getting preseason basketball or on Thursday. Friday, we're going to get the Suns and the Lakers. That's going to be here in California, I believe in California. That game is going to be played in Palm Springs at the Acrisure Arena. Saturday, you have some Abu Dhabi games. You have the Nets playing a Jerusalem team in Brooklyn. I guess maybe there's like the Ben Saraf connection there. You have the Magic and Heat going up against each other in Puerto Rico and San Juan, which is really cool. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves are playing in San Diego. You're going to have the Pelicans going up against PNX in Melbourne as well. So yeah, we got a couple cool games starting up, but we had a lot of like notes and news coming out of the start of training camp and just kind of media day as well, including the Orlando Magic with maybe the worst tweet addicted to these young men. And then it's just like 0.5 photos of all their players. Yeah, just what was the admin thinking with this one? So the first one that I want to talk about specifically came out of the Grizzlies camp as well, when we saw the team announce that Zach Edey could miss the first 2 months of the season while recovering from ankle surgery. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a turf toe injury. And then Brandon Clark is also going to be out for a few weeks as well. He had a knee issue. He had an arthroscopic procedure. To relieve right knee pain. So the Grizzlies front court to start off the year is going to be just an absolute mess. We're going to see maybe Santi Aldama at the 5. We're going to see Jock Landale, who they picked up after like the Rockets waived late in the offseason as well, be the 5. We know that Jay Huff is in Indiana. Marvin Bagley is back in Washington. So the concerns I had about the Grizzlies going into 2026 were just more put out there from media day. I was worried about the front court depth because of Zach Edey having the injury that we got word of kind of in June. And then it's like, okay, how long could Zach Edey realistically be out for? The 2 months, like, that's no joke. He may miss like a quarter of the season right away. And then is he going to be on a minutes restriction? Could there be no back-to-backs for Zach Edey? Could there be another injury for him down the road as well? Because they're going to be very, very cautious about his health given how massive he is going forward. And the Grizzlies this year didn't really have championship expectations or hopes, right? They were a team that moved Desmond Bane. They now own their first round pick and the Suns' first round pick. They're probably okay retooling this roster to be more suited for a deeper run in 2027, just kind of get everything going with Tomas Asalo. Now he's going to be the full head coach or his first full season as the head coach, but just not seeing Clark, Edey, and Jackson on this roster healthy for at least like the next 4 weeks, for all 3 of those guys out of it for the next 4 weeks is crazy. I tweeted out like, you reading this tweet could be starting for the Memphis Grizzlies this year. And like, it's crazy. Like, we're not even at the start of the year and they are down so many guys in the front court. So can Santi Aldama be a 5? Or they get asked like Gigi Jackson or Vince Williams to be a stretch 4 for this team going forward? They signed a lot of guards this offseason, right? Like, they get KCP back in the Bane trade. They get Ty Jerome. I just feel like, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of question marks for Memphis this year. It's already a tough Western Conference. I thought they were going to be a team that we could respect a little bit more. And I think Ja can only take them so far. He's not going to have a ton of help. Like, we'll see Jalen Wells. We'll see Cedric Howard. Obviously a ton this year, which I'm excited about. But this is always going to be a retool year for Memphis. And I think that was just glamorized even more after just hearing about these injuries. And I wish there was just like another young, intriguing guy on this Grizzlies roster to get excited about. Like, if they maybe drafted somebody, I don't know, like just somebody that's not Jock Landale or Santi Aldama trying to be the 5. Because, yeah, it's a lot of Cam Spencer, a lot of Ty Jerome, just a lot of guards on this team. I don't think we're going to see John Kachar play the 5. Like, I'm kind of just looking at their roster, and you're just looking at the tallest players like Lawson Lovering, who is a rookie, might be a 2-way guy going into next year from Wyoming. You're looking at the next tallest guys. It's like Aldama, Wandale, Gigi Jackson is 6'9", Braxton Keys 6'8". They got Olivier Maxence Prosper on a 2-way. They got PJ Hall on a 2-way as well. Like, be expected to see PJ Hall this year. Possibly at some point they can keep him on the active roster to start off the year, and then they'll have to send him down as well. So yeah, just having those guys out is a massive blow for the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're a team that, I mean, their championship odds are plus 15,000. I think they're okay. Hoping they're bad. Hoping the Phoenix Suns are bad, and they're a team that has 2 top 10 picks in the 2026 NBA draft. Another just brutal injury that came out of camp as well was Scoot Henderson, where he unfortunately suffered a hamstring injury, and Scoot is going to miss the first 4 to 8 weeks of the season. And this, I mean, was a gut punch to me because I was so high on Scoot going into the 2023 draft. I think I even made like a bad take that's not aged well, that Scoot was closer to Wemby than he was to Brandon Miller, like midway through the G League Ignite season that year. That's how high I was on Scoot Henderson. I thought he was very close to Cade Cunningham as a prospect. And I think some of Scoot's lack of development so far, or him not living up to the hype, has been on Scoot. It's been his three-point shot. It's been his turnovers. It's been his decision-making. I think it's been on coaching. It's been some injury, unfortunate injury luck as well, where Scoot did miss 20 games as a rookie. He missed 16 games as a sophomore. He may miss the first 15, 20 games potentially. Hopefully it's like 15 or 10 to 15 games to start off the year, going into year number 3, which is a massive year number 3. He was taken with the 3rd overall pick to be the successor for Damian Lillard. They bring in Drew Holiday. They bring back Dame. You have a Hall of Fame point guard in Chauncey Billups, essentially, as the head coach, to just be the guy for Scoot Henderson and be the mentors for Scoot Henderson going forward, who's still just 21 years old, and he's supposed to be the next franchise player here. But unfortunately, we haven't gone to that point yet. Scoot has gone on stretches, like we saw down the stretch as a rookie. There were some encouraging moments in the month of March. I always say month of March, take it with a grain of salt. Last year, there were some stretches as well from Scoot, but he didn't start a lot. 56 games he came off the bench, 10 of them he started. I was just really hoping Scoot was going to start this year. Now we know that's definitely not happening this year. Hamstring tear as well is a little bit scary. Hamstring injuries, it's not the most serious. Like, it's so far from like an ACL tear, an Achilles tear, in professional sports, but hamstrings, man, they're going to linger, and they're going to really affect your speed, your quickness, and that's what Scoot can rely on: getting downhill, beating guys with his first step, running in transition with his speed and quickness. And I wonder if that's going to affect him even when he comes back from that injury as well. I mean, when he comes back, it's not like there's a ton of guards in Portland that I have to worry about. It's okay. So yes, it's Shaedon Sharpe, but he's never a point guard. He's never one initiating. And it's Drew Holiday, right? Like, Drew Holiday was the one guy that was going to bump Scoot Henderson, if he would, out of the starting lineup this year. And you know what? Drew's getting up there in age, right? Like, he's 35 years old. I'm not worried about Drew over Scoot long-term. Dame will be back next year, but I just wanted to see Scoot, man, to start day one. It really does stink. It is really unfortunate. So now I don't know. I think Portland's obviously going Klingon, Kamara, and Denny in this lineup. I'm going to think it's going to be Drew and Sharpe. Even though, like, Jeremy Grant, like, there's been some weird rumblings out of the Trailblazers media day that, like, Jeremy Grant kind of looked checked out a little bit. And they didn't really make any massive moves in the front court this offseason. Like, you draft a project guy in Jan Hansen, you buy out DeAndre Ayton. Like, there's still plenty of minutes for Jeremy Grant, who, when asked about the idea of coming off the bench, he said, I don't really expect that. So maybe Shaedon Sharpe doesn't start, and it's Jeremy Grant, and they go like a very huge lineup as well. I wonder what it's going to be like when Scoot comes back as well. But this one just kind of stunk. I talked about the 2023 draft class on Twitter as well. There's just a lot of guys from the 2023 draft, for where they were selected, haven't really lived up to their expectations so far. The obvious one is Scoot at number 3. So that's why it was such a big year 3 for Scoot Henderson this year, to be healthy, to be a reliable guy in that rotation. I mentioned Anthony Black, who I think has shown more defensively than offensively, but still, for somebody that was taken with the 6th overall pick, you'd like to see a little bit more out of so far. Jett Howard at 11, Kobe Buffkin at 15. So, like, Jett has been an unreliable rotational guy so far. It hurts a little bit more for Orlando seeing Grady Dick was selected right after him. Kobe Buffkin, one of my favorite prospects coming out of Michigan for that 2023 draft, was recently waived by the Atlanta Hawks. He just signed a 2-way with the LA Lakers. Jalen Hood-Schifino didn't get his 3rd-year team option picked up very early in year number 2. He was included in the biggest trade in NBA history. Dariq Whitehead hasn't really had a ton of moments for the Nets. Nick Smith Jr., Kobe Buffkin was traded to the Nets. I mixed up him and Nick Smith Jr. Kobe Buffkin, was traded to the Nets, who I am still excited about. Nick Smith Jr. was recently waived by the Charlotte Hornets. I apologize. He was just picked up on a 2-way with the LA Lakers. So we're going to see how that looks going forward. But yeah, like, we saw, like, De'Aaron Fox might not be ready opening night. Like, we see some of those. But outside of, like, I think the Scoot one was the biggest gut punch to me because I was so excited to watch him in year number 3 to start off this year, even playing alongside Drew Holiday with the momentum the Blazers had last year, and really just trying to figure out who is the guy going forward. I think right now, until Dame comes back, it's Denny Avdia, and then until Scoot or Sharp can prove otherwise, it is Denny as like their main asset going forward for sure, and he's under a fantastic contract. We still have to see if Sharp's going to get extended before the season starts. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see what ends up happening down the line for a lot of those guys that we talked about on a recent episode, just kind of those 2022 draft extensions as well. So now I just kind of want to hit on random things throughout just what we've learned so far through Media Day. The Magic are targeting opening night for Jalen Suggs to return. Unfortunately, last year, Jalen Suggs and Franz and Paolo did not play a lot of games whatsoever. He suffered a left knee kind of cartilage tear back on January 25th. He missed the final 35 games for Orlando last year. He missed all of, obviously, the round 1 series against the Boston Celtics. I'm hoping we see Jalen Suggs on opening night. So I assume we're not going to see him in preseason either. That is his return. So who knows what his minutes restriction is going to be out of the gate. But Orlando has an extremely high ceiling this year. I even think they have a high floor. And getting Suggs back is going to be crucial for what their point of attack defense can be. Having that guy that was one of the best defenders in the sport in 2024. And I think people forget about that, and rightfully so, right? Like Suggs hasn't played in a while. He was rarely healthy last year. And he could show that he's like... Dyson Daniels was kind of that breakout guard defender in 2025. Suggs was that guy in 2024, and he's going to be crucial for Orlando this season, given that they traded a lot of assets for Desmond Bane in the offseason, and with the East wide open. We've said the East is wide open so much this offseason. I'm finally excited to see, can Orlando, can Atlanta, can Detroit, can Milwaukee, New York, Cleveland, like who's going to take advantage of that wide open East this season. Another kind of guard note as well, De'Aaron Fox might not play on opening night with a hamstring injury. And those can linger, man. Those really can. So if he's unsure about playing opening night, I assume we're not going to see De'Aaron Fox in preseason either. Last year, he ended his season having surgery on his left pinky finger. The Spurs were kind of out of it. And once we saw like Wemby go down with the blood clot scare, they had really no playoff expectations whatsoever. So I talked about it a lot this offseason. I think De'Aaron Fox can have arguably a career year. He could be a top 10 point guard in the league, having a full year with Victor Wembanyama. He may be hurt for a few games to start off the year. We'll see if he's going to end up playing opening night. He signed that 4-year, $222 million extension with the Spurs this offseason, so they're invested a lot into Fox as their main point guard going forward. Dylan Harper had thumb surgery as well, so his opening night was in jeopardy as well, which I don't think we're going to see Dylan Harper either. So if we don't see Harper or Fox, their season opener is October 22nd against the Mavericks. We're going to see a lot of Stephon Castle. They may end up going like just Vassell and Keldon Johnson in that starting lineup. Maybe they go a little bit big and they have like Vassell at the 2, Harrison Barnes at the 3, Sohan at the 4. Maybe they have Barnes, Vassell, and no Sohan, but Wemby at the 4, Cornette at the 5. They could definitely have some different lineups out there, but I expect Stephon Castle to kind of be the starting point guard to start off the season this year for the San Antonio Spurs. We had some news and notes kind of come out from the LA Lakers as well. Obviously, LeBron is going to get asked a ton. They asked him if he thinks he's going to play with his son, Bryce, and he was like, probably not. They're on different timelines right now. I don't know if that's him more so thinking he doesn't have a lot left in the tank, or Bryce, who, if you're tapped in, is definitely more raw of a high school recruit going into college than Bronny was, and Bryce is going to Arizona, so I don't think Bryce is going to be a one and done. It's a good Arizona team. I would be shocked if he even cracks the Arizona Wildcats rotation this year, but hey, it definitely can happen. He could probably play some garbage time minutes, at least like to get kind of his feet wet so far this year. But it looks like LeBron might not end up playing with the second son. I love how that's like a big news and note from Summer League as well. Because right now I just kind of looked up the Wildcats rotation. He's like the 3rd string shooting guard right now on their depth chart, or their projected depth chart right now. So you never know. But Braden Burries, who's like a way better recruit than Bryce, is going to be their starting shooting guard to start off this year. And yeah, like LeBron was basically asked, like, do you think this could be your last media day with the Lakers? He said maybe. It's going to be a storyline throughout the year. I expect him. I would say there's a 90% chance he's on the Lakers at the end of the year, 10% chance he's not. I'm going to assume he's going to be going forward. We also saw like Austin Reaves kind of news come out as well that he could make up to $40 million per year on his next contract. He obviously wants to remain with the LA Lakers. He got offered a way smaller and cheaper deal this offseason, but there was a max amount that the Lakers can offer with his early bird rights. So he could be an unrestricted free agent next year if he declines his $14.8 million player option. And even if Austin Reaves like got injured on night one and missed the whole year, he's declining out of that option. He can get way more guaranteed money, and he's going to. I believe in Reaves as like a tertiary like scoring option for them. Like him being their third playmaker and primary ball handler is an incredibly luxury. It's just like amazing to have that reliability in your third ball handler that they're going to get from Reaves. There was reports that two sources from rival teams believe Reaves could make more than $40 million per season on his next contract and is expected to earn at least $35 million per year. I mean, he can look at like the RJ Barrett market, the Anthony Simons market, even what Tyler Hero is getting paid right now. And he can point to those guys and he's like, I should make at least what they're making. And he can make even more depending if he's like a fringe all-star guy this year in Los Angeles. Another note that like we saw Jayson Tatum tweet out a video of him practicing again, which is kind of wild. Like he's basically, I think he's 6 months removed. He's 5 months removed. No, I think he's 4 months, around 4 months, I apologize, removed from the Achilles injury. It's about 140 days, right? From it. And he's tweeting out like practice workouts already. And he kind of looks like ahead of schedule. Now, there was like what he said in like interviews that he expects to come back this year. Sorry, it is 5 months. It was on April 30th. He ended up getting hurt. Wow. I don't know why it was on May 30th. That's on me. So yeah, April 30th, he ended up getting hurt. And yeah, the fact that he's like this along already, I mean, there's like different surgeries that we're seeing come out. And I think he's like the first guy to get like this type of Achilles repair surgery that there is a chance he could be back in like under 10 months. Who knows what he's going to be in another 5? Like, okay, you just have to run through the scenarios if we think we're going to see Tatum back this year. If I had to bet, I don't think we see him back this year. And what's different, right? Like if Tatum is, I don't know, if Boston is, like one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference in March, do they bring him back? Or do they think, okay, we're good without Tatum, let's just let him rest up for the 27 season? Or if they're like a fringe playing team, playoff team, do they think it's not worth it to bring Tatum back? Or okay, we can use Tatum to come back to get over this leap or get into another level in the Eastern Conference playoffs? I just feel like if Tatum, I don't know, if he's like 100% healthy in like February, bring him back in March, okay. But the fact that he's going to be 100% in February just seems kind of groundbreaking. So if he's like 100% in like mid-March, I just would be more cautious with it and just say, you know what? 2026 was never going to be our year. We traded away Kristaps. We traded away Drew. Horford just signed with the Golden State Warriors. Let's just kind of get a feel for Pritchard long-term, Simons long-term, Jalen Brown as a number one, some of the young guys like Hugo and Shireman, even though he's on the older side, and maybe the big men's, and kind of go moving forward as well with that. Anthony Davis in the Mavericks camp kind of mentioned that he's going to have to wear goggles for the rest of his career. So he's on his like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar arc. He's going to look like Horace Grant. He said he had offseason surgery to repair a detached retina in his right eye. And if you're watching like his press conferences at Media Day, you could see like, I guess it's his right eye. Yeah, right. His right eye. Just it looks like a little red. And it's like, okay, that is a like, scary injury to have. And I would never want to like go out there and risk like making an eye injury any worse. He says he believed he suffered the injury when Daniel Gafford elbowed him in an April 2nd game against the Hawks. He spent majority of the summer recovering from the surgery. He began participating in 5-on-5 drills in late September. Obviously, AD is going to be a massive X factor for the Dallas Mavericks this year. I think his health can really determine where they can go. I know everybody wants to talk about Cooper Flagg and how he's going to be out of the gate. I don't want to have like Wemby expectations for Flagg. Like he's not going to be that guy yet. But if Flagg can put up like 13 points a game, be one of the best perimeter defenders, like I expect AD to be the best overall defender. But if Flagg can rival like Najee Marshall and PJ Washington as like the best defender on the team and just shoot like 35% from three, that is a very good number one overall pick season for somebody that doesn't have to be the guy for a team that has relatively a high floor and possibly a high season going into the year for a incumbent number one overall pick. Like I did the research. Yeah. Markelle Fultz was the last number one overall pick to play in his rookie season. It was the 2018 76ers. And he was even banged up at that time, right? Cooper Flagg could be that guy. Like Cade and Wemby, they were all drafted into bad teams. Like there was a reason why they were selecting number one. They were bad and they obviously all get lucky in the lottery. Dallas got extremely lucky in the lottery. Kyrie tears his ACL. AD gets hurt. He only ends up playing roughly, 9 games for the Dallas Mavericks last year. And Nico Harrison's vision comes true. The lottery odds go their way. So, yeah, AD's health is going to be the X factor for this team. He just turned, he's going to turn 33 in March. So most of the season he will be 32. He was an MVP candidate. He was definitely on pace to be an All NBA member last year with the Lakers before the trade. But in 51 games last year, he was a lot better for the Lakers, but he was banged up. He looks so good, man. Like that game against the Rockets was so exciting to start off his Mavericks career. It's just gonna feel so weird. Yeah, like AD and Cooper Flag in Dallas. I mean, there was like the video of him, Kyrie, and Cooper Flag all taking their photos, all former #1 overall picks. Now they're gonna be all here together. So we'll see what ends up happening with Anthony Davis and them going forward this year. Kyrie did mention that he was ahead of schedule. I think if he comes back like mid-February, early February, that is an absolute home run for the Mavericks this year. You ease him back into the swing of things, and maybe you can kind of play him at a full workload in April, and you hope that April is either high-end playing games, like 7 or 8 matchup, or it's like you're a 6 seed or 5 seed in the West. We had news from coming out, it's just funny news at this point, from the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard mentioned none of us did no wrongdoing. The GM, Lawrence Frank, talked about just kind of like, we know the rules, and like kind of dodged the question if they broke the rules or not. It's just like the whole cap circumvention investigation is ongoing. The Clippers, funny enough, are hosting the All-Star game this year. There was reports that we're not going to know about the verdict of this quote-unquote scandal till after the All-Star break. Obviously, this would be hilarious if they did circumvent the cap and they host the All-Star game, and who knows, like the punishments for Kawhi Leonard could be extreme. I still don't expect him to be extreme at this point. It's crazy too, because like Pablo Torre was the guy, like he's the guy that's really putting this investigation on his back. Like nobody else really cares outside of him, which is really dope. Like it's not like he was hurt from this. He's doing this out of like his investigation hobby and love for it. And he's going hard to just try to get to the bottom of this. And that's what he wants to do. And obviously it's great for his podcast, but like, it's not like there's a victim here, right? Like I guess the rest of the NBA is quote unquote victims, but it's not like they're pressing for charges either. They're all kind of a collective fraternity in a way with all the owners that really comes down on. I don't know how much they would hate Steve Ballmer, who arguably has the most power out of any NBA owner with his like Microsoft ties and his net worth as well. So I don't think anything's going to end up happening. I think it's cool that Pablo Torre is really kind of going all in on this and wants to get to the bottom of this and is going back and forth with Mark Cuban on Twitter every single day. We had just kind of rapid fire going through a bunch of things that I have written down. Kevin Durant expects to eventually sign an extension with the Houston Rockets. He can make a little bit more money if he waited throughout the offseason. He's eligible to sign for $120 million, a little bit over that, over 2 seasons. But the Rockets did pay Jabari Smith Jr. But the thing going on right now is with Tari Eason. Now, with Fred VanVleet out for the year, I don't know if this is changing their plans at all. Do they want to maybe not re-sign Eason because that restricts when they could trade Tari Eason as well, because he'd be recently signed, he'd be poison pill. It'd be extremely tough to move him. So they could end up just not re-signing Tari Eason, and that's kind of like a safety blanket, a trade chip to use at the deadline. And hey, if they don't want to trade him, they still have him as a restricted free agent next offseason. They can match any deal that he ends up getting. I was never really worried about Kevin Durant not signing an extension with Houston. It always made sense for KD to wait. He was always going to get the 2-year max from them, and he could have made a little bit more money if he just waited throughout the offseason as well. So expect to be seeing Kevin Durant eventually sign an extension with the Rockets. I assume they're just waiting to figure out what they're going to do with Tari Eason. There was like funny Giannis tidbits that came out as well. So like the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks basically said that there was a meeting with Giannis this offseason. He expects Giannis to like be back, and they don't really have to worry about him leaving. So yeah, it's the Bucks owner, Wes Edens, mentioned that I had a great conversation with Giannis in June, and he made it clear that he is committed to Milwaukee and he likes having his family here. Giannis, an hour later, says, I cannot recall that meeting. So weird vibes. I don't know, like a weird encounter, awkward as well from the Bucks training camp. So we'll see what that even means. Like, does the owner be like, Giannis, why did you say you didn't recall that meeting? We had that meeting. Or maybe Giannis goes to him and goes, why did you say that? Like, I never said that. We don't know what's true. So we'll see what ends up happening. Giannis is not getting traded this year. If he ever got traded, it would happen in the offseason. It's way easier. Seeing Miles Turner in Bucks threads felt really weird. Miles Turner also had some like quotes that was like, Milwaukee, like it's nice to have the fans that really care about you or want you. And I'm like, that's crazy to say about your former team in Indiana, where you were there for pretty much a decade. I mean, yeah, like Milwaukee had some turnover. They brought guys back. Kyle Kuzma has like a skin cut fade or a buzz cut fade. It's kind of weird, but Kuzma really can't be much worse next year than he was last year with the Milwaukee Bucks after the trade. Jokic turned down an extension this offseason, but it made sense. He can make so much more money going forward. I think it was $212 million over 3 seasons, but he can earn an additional $80 million if he opts out of his contract. Or excuse me, if he could just sign the extension next year, because he can opt out in 27. But he said those contract extensions come as a reward, as something that is natural to the sport, especially in today's NBA with how the salary cap is going. My plan is to be a Nugget forever. I didn't really expect Jokic to ever leave. Now, if Denver had back-to-back round 1 exits or round 2 exits, I don't know. Like, something could change. We never know, but I don't really expect Jokic to be on a team not named the Denver Nuggets for at least the rest of his prime. They traded a 2032 unprotected first to get Cam Johnson, which was kind of indicating to Jokic that we are all in building the best possible roster around your prime. Still have Aaron Gordon, still have Jamal Murray. You bring in Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, who they came out that we are going to be expected to see Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic play together. That kind of Euro frontcourt style of play. I'm going to be fascinated to see how that is. Mainly on offense. Might be a little bit of an issue defensively, but I think that is going to be must-see TV offensively. They bring in Tim Hardaway Jr., internal leaps potentially of Brown, Deron Holmes, Strother, Peyton Watson makes Denver so intriguing next year, and in my opinion, the best team that can go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the 2026 NBA season. And yeah, that was most of kind of the main news that kind of happened from that. Like Jonathan Kuminga obviously wasn't at Media Day. He's currently not signed. So you guys are going to be listening and seeing this podcast on the 30th. The October 1st is the qualifying offer deadline. Now, teams and the players can agree to extend the deadline. I think it's late as like March 1st, which I don't get how that makes sense. I'm sure somebody could, I'll figure that out, because like March 1st, Kuminga's not under contract, right? Like, this isn't 4th year of the team option. Like, Kuminga is a restricted free agent. So he's going to end up getting, I guess you could extend it to March 1st, but like Kuminga would just not be playing games. Either way, we're going to find out over the next 48 hours what is happening. They're going to either extend it, he's going to sign the qualifying offer, they're going to agree on a 1 or 2 year deal, or Kuminga's going to end up being a Sacramento King over the next 48 hours. So be on the lookout for that. And the Warriors are like, we can't wait any longer. It's media day. We need to have training camp. We need to fill it out a 5v5 scrimmage, and we only had 9 players under contract. So they signed Al Horford, they signed DeAnthony Melton, they signed Gary Payton. I'm going to assume that like Seth Curry is on his way as well. They signed Will Richard and Alex Tui to 2-way, or they signed Richard to a 4-year contract, the 2nd round pick. They signed Tui to a 2-way contract as well. And yeah, we're starting to figure out, like, we kind of all knew what was going to happen with Al Horford this offseason and Gary Payton and Melton, that they were going to go to Golden State. It was interesting that Horford maybe got a multi-year deal. We don't really know what the multi-year deal fully is until the Kuminga thing figures itself out, but it could just be like a 1+1. Like, Horford can have a player option on the table for next year if he wants to continue to play. So yeah, we're about to find out what's going to happen with Kuminga, and now the Warriors can actually fill it out like a full roster. Another thing that Jake Fisher reported, that the Sixers rejected Quentin Grimes' proposal to extend the qualifying offer deadline. So all the focus and attention has been on Jonathan Kuminga. Well, hey, Quentin Grimes, who averaged 20 points in a Sixers uniform down the stretch, is also currently unsigned right now. Grimes wanted to get like a nice restricted contract, and the Sixers came in well below what he was looking for as well. So they've been very far apart. He could sign the $8.7 million qualifying offer, which would come with a 1-year implicit no trade clause, but he could also sign more than that. He could sign like $13 million, but he would waive that no trade clause essentially. I'm sure Philadelphia would like to do that. Like, even though they would pay more into the tax, they could potentially trade Quentin Grimes, who would definitely have a robust market at the deadline for sure. So a player can also waive it. Like, he could also waive the no trade clause, so they could still get him on the qualifying offer and still trade Quentin Grimes if he believes that is the best for his future as well. So yeah, over the next 48 hours, since they declined the extension on the qualifying offer, we are going to see Quentin Grimes go down like deep. Deadline is tomorrow, October 1st. My birthday as well. I'm turning 26 tomorrow. So yeah, we are going to see kind of what's going to go down with Kuminga and with Quentin Grimes finally, right? And we're going to finally be done with the free agents. We had like the 2-year anniversary on, what was it, Saturday, the 27th of the Dame trade. And we had the 1-year anniversary of the Cat trade. And I was like, are we going to get like a Kuminga trade? Keep the trend of big trades on the 27th. Any other notes here? I do have that Coby White informed the Bulls that he doesn't plan to extend this season, which is crazy because, which is fine for White, right? Like, he can make more money in a year from now. He's cool playing under $12.8 million. He's a fantastic player. Now, if he signed the veteran extension, he would only make $87 million over 4 years. So it would start at around $19 million. It would ascend over time, but he can make more money in a year from now from Chicago. He says, I love being in Chicago. I love the front office. I love my teammates. I love the staff. He's built a great relationship with Billy Donovan, who got extended last year as well. So I'm sure Coby White would be back. It made sense for him financially to still bet on himself. If he replicated what he did in 24 and 25 next year, he's easily getting more money from the Bulls next offseason. And even with him being an unrestricted free agent, and the Bulls not having that many good players, especially with Coby White being homegrown, they would still be inclined to kind of re-sign him as well, to keep a bigger name in Chicago. So I expect White to probably not get traded unless teams blow them away with an offer and something changes this year. But I'm going to assume that Coby White is eventually going to re-sign with the Bulls, for better or for worse, for their team building, for a lot more money in a year from now as well. So that was a lot of the news and kind of notes that came out over media day so far. Talked about the injuries, talked about kind of some trade things that are going down. Still, I'm upset about the Scoot Henderson injury. So the next episode you guys will see probably going to be on Thursday, which is the 2nd. So I mean, okay, so actually the first game that we have on Thursday is at 12 o'clock. So maybe I'm going to record that after the Knicks-Sixers game is over. And then the Pelicans-Melbourne game that I said was on Thursday as well, I believe is actually on Friday at 5:30 in the morning. So yeah, if you want to wake up early, I don't think I will. Maybe I will wake up. I mean, I get to watch Dash Daniels play against hopefully Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen and some of those guys in New Orleans. I don't know if we're going to see Zion in that game, if he even traveled with the team. I'm sure he did, but I don't know if we'll see him either way. So the next episode will be out on Thursday, maybe recapping that Knicks-Sixers preseason game, finally knowing what went down with Kuminga and Quentin Grimes as well, because Quentin Grimes did not travel to Abu Dhabi with the team either. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. If you did, feel free to drop a thumbs up on YouTube. You can let me know what you guys think in the YouTube description, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as well. I have really exciting news coming out for the NBA season as well, which I hopefully will be giving to you guys very soon. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.